Good morning. It's been so noisy here this morning. We'll see if I can film in between a gap of chainsaws and leaf blowers and everything. Today I thought I'd show you how I make a journal topper. I had a lovely journal, actually. There's a flip through of it, the bird journal, with the topper on, but it has since sold. So here are some I prepared earlier, and they're just a good way of dressing up a journal that you have a plain cover on that you want to have a little bit more interest on. I, in my usual fashion, tend to make mass make, just because I think, oh, that's a good idea. Oh, look, that one worked well. Let's do another one. And also because I have a lot of stuff. You know, a lot of fabric, a lot of scrap card. You can see how nice and how differently you can dress up the cover of a journal. And in future, I want to try making this more interactive on the journal. But for now, let's just start with a nice, simple, beginner-friendly way of making a topper. Here's some I prepared earlier, and this is what I mean. Oh, pardon me. Just using an old piece of card and a scrap of fabric, and it really doesn't matter whether you like the fabric or not because you're going to cover most of it. And this is what happens when I decide to do something. I cut up an old album that we didn't want anymore, but the cardstock was really good and sturdy, and I went to my fabric bag and I got out all these bits of fabric. This album had, I don't know why, punched holes in the card, but that doesn't matter because that'll get covered up. And before you know it, you have way more than you can use. But there you go. They're there for a rainy day. Very simple process. Scrap of fabric, scrap of card. Of course, cut it to fit your cover if you're being sensible and just making it for a particular journal. And then all I do is with a good fabric kind of glue, apply this here, all around. Now, of course, I should smear that in, but I'm not going to. I don't like getting it on my fingers. Center that on. Glue the front, miter your corners, and you don't have to be too fussy. The rule of thumb is to look at the width of the cardboard, the width, how thick the cardboard is that you're using, and make sure you leave a little bit more than that to cover the corner. I prefer mitering my corners simply because, sorry, I know that's loud, it looks nicer and it gives you a flatter finish than folding them over each other. Of course, if you want dimension, by all means, don't trim, just fold them. And it doesn't matter really what the back looks like because this is going to be glued to the journal in the end. So long as we get that front covered. Ooh, going to get in a sticky mess. Normally I would take this more slowly, dry one bit before I did the next bit, but there you go. That gives you the idea. And you let that dry. And then the fun begins when you pull out all your various boxes of scraps. So, scraps of paper, scraps of special papers. These are lovely handmade papers. Scraps of cardstock, card. And you start to build on your cover. So here's one that I've done a little bit of to show you the stages, because I'm not going to go set up with my machine. Let's choose this one. So you can see here I've covered most of the fabric with paper, cardstock, some dyed gauze and a little digital. And I've not bothered gluing this. I tacked it probably with a bit of glue stick because I've stitched around these pieces and even this little piece here. And then I'm going to choose a focal point to put on there, which could be, I'm thinking this is going to go on a green botanical style journal, and I kind of like this digital, and I thought what I might do is actually attach this to a piece of cardstock and then sew it on. So attaching that to a piece of cardstock will strengthen it, and then sew it on like this and have it as a pocket so that something else can be in here poking out. So that'll be the beginning of my more interactive style topper. But that kind of gives you the intermediate stage and shows that you can just keep building on it. So what I might do is I'll finish this off camera and come back and show you what it looks like when I've made up my mind. But to start, I guess you decide how much you like the fabric and whether you want to leave some of it exposed or not. And then it's simply a matter of going to your scrap box and choosing a bunch of papers that you like the look of. I usually try and find things that fit. Being lazy and letting the papers find their rightful position by themselves. And I mean, really, you can make anything fit, can't you? So let's just chop that one off there. Let's say we're going to go there, there, there. I'm so sorry about the scissors. I have to put a cloth down to muffle that sound. Oh my goodness. Get off. If you find collaging hard or making decisions difficult, this is sort of a fun way to play because you're not attaching anything yet. You just, you know, and of course you can photograph that so that when you take it off and think, oh, maybe I'll go with this, photograph that, and it's kind of easier to look at it on camera. So you just go, no, I don't like any of that, but this is going to be a botanical journal. So I might go with this nice bit of eco-dyed paper. And then I think I'd like a bit of something blue across there, and then maybe something there. Ooh, look, isn't it funny? You stop trying so hard and it comes together better. I actually want to try, and I quite like this, surprisingly. Ooh. Trim that more neatly. Isn't that interesting? See, let the papers play, and suddenly this one, which I picked up thinking, oh no, that's too too tealy, doesn't go with this. But look at this teal with that teal. I like it a lot. Could even make that into a little sort of stamp size looking thing up there if I wanted to. Which I don't, I think I do. Ooh, I've also got these little labely things. Oh, look. They might be a little bit too big. Too big, too big. Okay, I don't think anything that's in this pile here is going to really work, but let's pretend and think, not that label, but all of this I'm pretty happy with. What I would do next would be, because I would stitch this. I will stitch this. And in fact, I'm not sure, I don't think I really need to glue it because these are all quite large. So what I'm going to do is go and get on the sewing machine, and I will probably, I'll stitch around this piece first, then I'll put this on and just stitch along that bottom bit. Then I'll come and I say all this, we'll see if it happens or not. Ooh, I might stitch this one like that and this one like that so that that lifts up, and I could put something there or here. Okay, that might be interesting. I'll go and do the next stage of this, and I will be as surprised as you are by what happens. Back in my squeaky chair. Okay, so I tried a couple of things, decided to go with the pocket idea, and I backed this digital just onto a piece of fairly thick book page. And I've left it as a pocket so that it can have whatever you like tucked into it. Now these are a little bit big for this journal. Well, maybe not. I mean, it does fit. So what I would do at this point is glue it using an acetone-based glue, and probably press it under something because, or clamp it, just to make sure it really held well. That's that one. Add that to the stash of finished ones. And then this one, I'm very happy with how this looks, even though when I was attaching this strip, I decided to leave it as a pocket. But when I changed the thread, I'd been too lazy to change the bobbin. So when I folded this edge over to strengthen it and stitched it from the other side, I got a contrasting. I mean, it's okay. I think it still works. And decided to use some of my fancy stitches to hold the mushroom down. And now this can be decorated. I won't do this yet because I'm not sure what journal it's going on. It'll fit on this very nicely, but this is in fact one of Q's journals, so it won't be living on there permanently. Anyway, I thought this kind of, a stamp idea or a little hidden, stitch that on or glue that on, and it could have any number of little things tucked in there, and another ticket of some description attached there. And there we go. How to dress up your book easily. Though this works really nicely, of course, if you're just using a purchased journal of some description to work into. Look at that. I mean, you could even put another, let's pretend this is a bit of larger torn fabric, but you could even put a bit of fabric with a torn edge all the way around underneath this to dress it up further and give yourself more of a grunged look. and suddenly you've personalised a purchase notebook. I like doing this. This is, in fact, what I used to do before I was making journals myself. I always covered the journals I was working in with something, whether it was fabric or a painting or some weird random sample of something I'd been experimenting with. And it's great because then when you go to the bookshelf, you remember, that, oh, this is the one with the dreams in it or whatever. Anyway, there you go. Another idea for a journal topper. And now that I've made these ones with these little interactive flips and tucks and so on, I'm suddenly brimming with ideas to have even more interaction on the cover. Like this could actually be backed and hinged. Could, in fact, have a whole nother little journal in here. Or this way. Stay tuned. I'm sure there'll be more ideas along this line. I really enjoyed making these, even though I was so reluctant to start. And the neighbour has stayed quiet, so isn't that a bonus? See you next time. Bye.